let's now come to the CSDS polling data. Remember, CSDS doesn't want to put out a seat share estimate because they believe, given the nature of their survey, that's not scientific. They want to stick to the vote share data. So I'll walk across and show you the CSDS data. This is done by Professor Sanjay Kumar and his team, and try and pick up what the CSDS, what the academics at CSDS have to say. So, according to CSDS, BJP's vote share is likely to be 40%. So that's along the lines of what Pradeep Gupta is saying. You're predicting a 3% straight increase. You're saying that the Congress's vote share could be at 23. So the CSDS vote share for the Congress is more than that of both Pradeep and Yashwant, because Yashwant was at 21.5, Pradeep was at 21. They're saying 23, and the others are as far as alliances are concerned. So, okay, Sanjay ji, do you want to explain why you think that the Congress could be up 3% from the last time and 40% for the BJP? Explain from what you've understood so far the differences between what you've picked up and what the other pollsters have picked up.
No, it would be very difficult for me to compare my polls with other pollsters because I haven't seen their polls in detail. But let me explain why I see BJP's vote share going up nationally, because the states where BJP seems to have increased its tally of vote share, and they will also increase the tally of seats, is the eastern coast and the southern state. West Bengal, Odisha, a massive increase in terms of vote share, and that will also get converted into seats. Andhra, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, Kerala. These are the states where BJP is adding up to the vote share of what it polled in 2019. That's what explains why we see BJP's vote share going up. Remember, when we did the poll in early April, that time also the estimate for BJP was more or less the same, 40% we had estimated. Congress vote share, I think Rahul has already explained that there are constituencies because of the good alliances in some states that only Congress is contesting where there is no alliance partner. So Congress is also getting the advantage.
So the secret sauce of the CSDS polling mechanism is that, unlike other pollsters who are obsessed on getting seats seats right, they focus more on a socio-economic profiling of the mood in the country. Now, how are people feeling? So why don't you give us some sample of the responses that you picked up and your assessment of the mood in the nation during your post-poll study?
I know the reason why we are not getting into this whole business of seat forecast, because we operate with very small samples. Our estimated sample is 19,200. Our poll is still not complete. We are completing the poll.
So you want some of Pradeep ji's budget? Pradeep ji, bhai budget de do. Thoda sa achha sa bada. Academics should have bigger budgets.
But what's the thing which you have to appreciate, Rahul, that the three guys who actually do sampling on the ground are on your panel.
Correct.
All right, number one. And our vote share estimates are 1% between each other.
Correct. That's true.
Right. Now, anywhere in the world you go, 1% difference of the vote share between three polls.
So you are saying there's no, unlike what Congress is alleging, there is no conspiracy.
You haven't seen this in a long time. It's a healthy sign that you're getting three pollsters who've gone and done actual sampling on the ground, giving you broadly the same trend. You see, let's not take those who are what I call the fly-by-night operators, who sort of simply throw a number at you. At least those doing serious polling seem to have got a direction.
Let me explain to the viewers why we are not getting into this whole business of seat forecast. Because as I said, we operate with very small samples. And unlike Pradeep ji, this small sample doesn't help us in understanding the constituency-wise mechanism. So that is why we try and abstain, because we would work out this seat sharing. If we want to do the seat forecasting, it will be worked on a projection model.
No, but you have lots of questions
where
people give answers about the mood on employment, which is not there because everybody else is trying to come back with vote and seat forecast.
We have asked several questions with regard to what contributes to BJP's victory. The questions were designed in such a way that if BJP registers a victory, that you are able to explain. I think Prime Minister Modi leading the campaign is a big factor. We have several questions of that kind, and a very sharp question on do you think you have decided your vote keeping in mind who is going to be the Prime Minister? And one quarter, a little more than that, 27% of voters said yes, that was the prime consideration.
That shows how presidential the election is getting.
I think it was, in fact,
just reflect on that. It was
actually more last time.
Of the respondents
it was 1/3 last time. 33% in your post poll last time had said they had voted for BJP.
That's a different question.
Post poll.
That's a different question. We have asked that question also.
What was the number there? who said they voted for the BJP only because it was the Prime Minister.
It will be, I assume it is going to be higher compared to the last time. We have
More
to do
than
that
33% also.
More than 33%.
So I think that is the significant finding. But just on this forecast point, because I think viewers need to understand, you know, it's one thing getting vote share right. The real problem in India is getting your seat share transition from vote share. Rahul Verma,
But
I
give me one
remember
line.
not
Give me one line,
2004.
to be honest.
In 2004, you all got, that's where you got the poll wrong.
Sorry?
Because in 2004, pollsters got it wrong because they were unable to extrapolate based on vote share who will get how many seats. I'm just wondering, Rahul, whether that is the real nightmare in India.
See, I think first let me, among the three pollsters, the kind of vote share you are getting is within the margin of error, right? So let's not even like why it's 23, 22, 21. With this, you have a 2% margin of error. 23 means it could even be 25, it could even be 21. Second point, seat conversion always needs to account for three things. The winner's vote share, the runner's vote share, and what the distribution of all other players are. The reason 2004 was a difficult election to call is that at that point of time, Congress and BJP, the two main competitors, were very similar parties, right? Both were 150-seat parties, both were around 25% vote share, and so a couple of point swing here and there could give you results in different direction. Now what you have is, like Congress is half of BJP in terms of vote share. So a 2 percentage point movement is not going to reverse the direction, right? So I think that's the seat distribution is hard to figure out. Just one more number. Congress in 2014 and 2019 got 19% vote and got 44 and 52 seats. In 2009, BJP had 18% vote and had 118 seats, right? So because BJP has a concentrated pockets of votes in Northwest, it can basically convert seats at a much higher rate. So whereas Congress vote share is spread, it needs much higher votes
just
to
to
start
recap what we've heard, what's very consequential in a political context is that the Congress has been alleging that all these pollsters are getting instructions from BJP top brass. There are three separate teams, academics, private pollsters, all working independently and have come to virtually the same conclusion. I think that is, Pradeep Gupta, very significant because this is a narrative that we are likely to see when the actual results come out, that it is BJP. What did Rahul Gandhi say? Fantasy poll hai, Modi ka poll hai. Just because he's not winning, when they were winning in Telangana and Karnataka, they didn't have a problem. But right now they're calling it a fantasy poll.
अभी अंगूर थोड़े खट्टे हैं, 2 दिन में मीठे हो जाएंगे, थोड़ा सा उसको पकने दीजिए तो सबको जवाब मिल जाएगा रिजल्ट के दिन, परिणाम के दिन.
So you will speak like Don now.
No, I am not speaking like that. I am saying if राहुल गांधी जी की सोच समझ के चलते वो ये कह रहे हैं, खासकर कि एक्सेस माई इंडिया, इंडिया टुडे का पोल जो है वो मोदी पोल है, तो मैं ये कह रहा हूँ कि उसका यदि ऐसा है तो उसका आंसर जो है कल 4 तारीख को मिल जाएगा. इतना मैं कह रहा हूँ.
यदि उनको
और यदि इनको खुशी मिलती है ये कहने में, तो मुझे उससे भी ज्यादा खुशी है उनको खुश देखने में.
See, the problem, एक मिनट, लाइन गलत क्या बोली राहुल जी ने? उन्होंने बोला मोदी जी का फैंटेसी पोल है, उनके लिए नाइटमेरिश है. कर्नाटक का जो हमारा एग्जिट पोल था वो मोदी जी के लिए नाइटमेरिश था, राहुल जी के लिए फैंटेसी पोल था. So ठीक ही है ना.
Yeah, but can I just point out that when you give these seat share variations, and the variations are actually not as much as they normally could be. Most of them are 350 plus. It's only the higher end.
No, even the vote share.
Only the Pradeep is going up to 400.
Yeah.
What explains those 30, 40 seats? Is it that Yashwant Deshmukh is more conservative when he's translating that same vote share into seats? What is it, Pradeep, about your poll that generally you tend to see the higher side, you and today's Chanakya, if I may say so, rather than a midpoint?
See, our methodology is little different.
Seat by seat.
Yes, we don't rely on vote share conversion into seats. Rather, we go to each and every seats and whatever it is polled, that turns out to be the vote share for us, like the election
If this is
counting.
cricket, Pradeep Gupta bats like it's T20. Yashwant likes to bat like it's a one-day match. He's not test cricket, but it's like one day. It's one day
No,
versus...
I am not even, honestly speaking, I would call me a test match. I mean, I'm not even one day.
He wants to be Gavaskar. He doesn't want to be simply seen as Hardik Pandya. But Preeti had a question today, which she had sent me, which maybe Pradeep can answer. What
you know,
was
that's
that?
what I
Because you
discussing
sent me
with
a
Rajdeep
graphic.
because
Why
I was
don't you
looking
ask?
at the numbers.
Yes.
And I did think, and you know, women are always difficult to poll. For somebody being a woman who's on ground and speaking with women, I understand that, especially in the rural belt and state by state, it changes. But to have a 31%, you know, polling women and polling 70% men and then extrapolating that data to a 50-50, do you think that could be a weak link?
Not at all, definitely not. When I'm talking about our sample size of about 5,82,000, meaning even if for the sake of calculation you take 6 lakhs, 31% is roughly coming to 2 lakh women we are voting in the entire country, which is a sizable enough on the country level, on a consistency level also.
But Pradeep ji, the same did you poll the same in Bengal? Because you got that
Every
wrong.
time.
So you polled 30% in Bengal.
We polled 30% in Bengal, but Bengal was a totally different election was done. Corona second wave at the peak in the April.
This was 2021.
Nobody was ready to come closer to us. Forget talking to us.
Okay.
Nobody was able to come. In my team, as many as 20, it was 5-phase poll, as many as 20 surveyors fall sick. They gone
So
back.
that was the 2021 story. But the story that what I want to ask Yashwant is that state variations. You know, one of the more interesting dissections of your polls so far that I have seen from an external agency has been a group of academics in Karnataka called Edina who got 2023 spot on. They got the exact number which you could get, you know, and then they celebrated it. Now they are claiming exactly the reverse of what pollsters are saying about Karnataka. Could there be statewide variations? Is that in a Lok Sabha poll particularly some hazard that you have? That in Maharashtra you may underpoll the BJP, in Karnataka you may have underpolled the Congress. It may well cancel each other out. BJP then ends up getting more seats in Maharashtra, fewer in Karnataka. Is that a possibility at all?
Rajdeep, hazards are there when the margin of the two parties is like 2 or 3%. Like in West Bengal or like in Maharashtra for that matter. Hazards do not happen when the party, one section is leading over by 10% points.
You're also giving more than a double
Absolutely.
digit.
I'm not giving it today. I'm giving the same number right from the Karnataka Assembly election exit poll.
Yes, sir.
Right from that day, that the same exit poll where I predicted Karnataka is swept by Congress, the same sample on that day said 10% on the reverse swing that we will be voting for the BJP in the Lok Sabha.
Okay, because his poll is giving a 14% edge to the BJP JDS. But yes, Rajat.
What I have experienced is that bipolar contests are fairly easy to predict. I mean, when you have a bipolar contest, you get the signals absolutely right, you get the margins absolutely right. You also know very well the difference, directions, even the seat projections is very right. What happens in a state like Maharashtra? You have 6 parties. Almost, I mean, BJP slightly has a greater presence, but remaining 5 are almost of the same size. 1 or 2% vote here and there can actually, and even the vote conversion, when you get into an alliance, converting vote from each other is very hard. For example, pick Yuti in Maharashtra. Would an NCP supporter or a voter go out and vote for BJP or not? Even ascertaining that, eliciting those responses post-poll without the fear of retribution is something which is hard. And that is where
Can I just ask one last question on this? That which is the most difficult state, therefore, to predict? Is it a quadrangular fight like we have in Punjab, where you've given a substantial vote share to the BJP? Is it Kerala, where the BJP is rising for the first time, but even Keralites are shocked that we are giving 25-26% vote share? I mean, editor of a leading Malayalam daily said, you know, this would be a tectonic change in our politics if that is the kind of percentage. Is it more difficult, therefore, in a state where you have a party emerging for the first time? Is it a quadrangular? As Rajat says, bipolar, much easier?
See,
Pradeep,
please go ahead.
which is the most difficult state for you this time?
Yeah. So for us, as long as we are able to talk to people freely, fearlessly, we don't see any problem or any difficulty to calling the election closer to the result. But wherever we find difficulty, like the case of Bengal, even this time today, this time also, our friend in West Bengal, Indrajit Kundu, our correspondent, he has to bail out 2 times during this period in last 15 days from my people from police station. You know, he has
So
been.
that fear factor.
That's the fear factor, and people also feel some fear factor to speak freely.
Yeah, but for me, the troubling, Kerala, for example, how do you get a new party which is Sunday? I mean, new in the sense BJP has never been 27%. You're giving, some polls are giving 2 to 4 seats. Others are saying you may well get a high vote share, but will you get seats? When will you start translating your vote share actually into seats in Kerala is a huge question.
Yeah, true. But 2 points. On the women, I think it's important to clarify that unless you can point out, so in polls it will always happen that some groups will be underrepresented. Unless you can suggest that there is one kind of women which might be voting very differently from other kind of women, it is okay. Right? Unless there is a group of women which is going to work very differently and you were not able to poll them, unless that's happening, extrapolation is not that big a problem. So extrapolations happen in polls always. Second point, to me, Maharashtra is going to be the hardest state to call. The reason is because somebody was telling me this anecdotal story, like women traveling in trains, where they're saying, "Humne Sahib ko vote kiya." Sahib meaning Sharad Pawar. But right, okay. So because symbols have changed, they might be voting someone else and telling something else.
Can I just come in, because we talk about different states and women voting differently. It is a fact. Now, I've been across 5 states this election, and in all 5 states, women vote very differently. A woman in the same age group in Haryana and Rajasthan is voting very differently in the same age group than I find a woman in Madhya Pradesh or Uttar Pradesh. So my problem is this extrapolation.
Okay, so we worked very hard on multiple crosstabs, and I love this conversation and the energy in the studio.